My name is Lily, and I've had hidradenitis suppurativa, HS, for years. I finally found some relief since taking Cosentyx. Relief means I can show up more.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
Cash flow crunch? OnDeck's small business line of credit gives your business immediate access to funds up to $100,000 right when you need it. Cover seasonal dips, manage payroll, restock inventory, or tackle unexpected expenses without missing a beat. With flexible draws, transparent pricing, and control over repayment, get funded quickly and confidently. Apply today at OnDeck.com. Funds could be available as soon as tomorrow. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Shit That Goes On to Our Heads, the podcast where we normalize conversations around mental health.
That's right. I'm Dirty Skittles, and alongside my amazing co-host, Rex, we are here to share stories and tips from our incredible guests.
Each episode, we deep dive into struggles and triumphs of mental health, offering practical advice and heartfelt support.
Because no one should feel alone in their journey. Join us as we break the stigma and build a community of understanding and compassion.
Tune in and let's start talking about the shit that goes on in our heads. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. I'm here with my awesome co-host, Dirty Skittles, and today we have an amazing guest, Leigh. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here. It's really great to be here, and it's great to be talking to people who are so open about mental health and who will flip me off, and it's totally fine. So...
That is, both of those are true. But on the mental health, yes. Thanks for coming and talking with us. And, right before we hit record, we were kind of tiptoeing into the conversation of mental health and therapies looking different for different kinds of people. And I'm really excited to hear what you have to share. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and start.
Dive in.
My main focus in my work and what I sort of for myself also is writing and telling stories. And, we've talked, the three of us and I have talked previously about medications and also herbal medications that are really great for mental health. But where I have been and what I have used for myself has been writing. Well, I've tried a lot of different things, but writing has been such a positive force in my life. Whether it's gratitude journaling, which there is research that says gratitude journaling does benefit mental health, but also in terms of making plans, connecting with people, owning your own story. Actually, just today, I'm in Argentina for anyone who doesn't know, and there's a local it's so much more than a yoga studio. It's like a yoga community center. And they're doing this free day of yoga next week for International Day of Yoga. So I asked, I'm like, hey, can I do one for writing? So I'm doing one about writing and self-awareness, where we're basically, I'm still putting it together, but basically where you sit down and you think about what are the stories in your life. And I think most of us when we think about our stories, we think about when I was born, when I graduated school, and the marriage, divorce, things that are really big. But I think it's those little moments that we easily overlook that define our lives. And even the big events tend to come down to really small moments, like the feeling you had, whether it's happiness or not happiness. And this is I hope this never happens to people. Even though I know it does. When you're walking down the aisle and you look at the person you're about to marry and you're like, oh my God, this is a mistake. that moment is far more important than the wedding. And two of my moments that I talk about are the first when I realized that I actually did like tomatoes when I went to a farmer's market, and there were these heirloom tomatoes, and I was with my daughter. She was about 4. And, I was like, oh, you should try them. But I was like, oh, I don't want to. And like, how can I ask my kid to do something that I don't want to do? And so I tried these tomatoes and I was like, wait, I actually like tomatoes. And as small as that seems, it just changed the way I looked at things. And I love moments that say, wow, I've been seeing it a way that wasn't quite right. Let me shift that and see things differently.
Yeah. That reminds me, I went through a really horrible breakup. And what I had learned about myself in that moment was and I don't know if this is women in general or just individuals, but I was in this relationship and completely became what that other person needed or what I thought they needed me to be, right? And so you go through this breakup, and I remember having this moment of, I don't know who I am without them, right? Going into therapy. And that was where the whole idea of, I didn't really do good with journaling, but the whole idea of figuring out who I was, my therapist recommended taking pictures of little things throughout the day that made me happy. And what you just said resonated with me, because in doing that, I learned more about myself, and just like these small, tiny little minuscule moments of, I like coffee. I like when it looks like this, or I like bright colors. And that's my happy album. And I've still done that till this day, because it reminds me, like, that's me staying grounded in who am I,
And that's something that you taught me, because now I have the same thing on my phone. I have videos and pictures of things that bring me joy, especially right now, because the world's literally on fire. I need to find my joy every day. And so I'm constantly adding to that. And I think that is really super helpful to me.
Yeah, it's those little moments, just like you said.
Yeah, I think, journaling, I think photos are the same kind of thing.
Right.
As it's still storytelling. It's still,
right.
And it is those things. It's like, what do you like? And just those visual reminders of what makes you happy. I have on Instagram, I have a collection, my vision board, my vision book collection, where when I see something I like, I just put it in there. There was this one, it's AI, and I know some people are very anti-AI, but it's this flower in the rain with these 2 little birds in it, but you can hear the rain. That, like, the sound of rain makes me really happy, and has so many great, like, you forget about it, but then when you hear it, it reminds me of all these different moments in my life where I was just like listening to the rain on the roof, or stuck in the rain and getting wet when it's summer. When it's cold, no. But yeah, I think that is where we find our joy, in those little moments.
Yeah. When did you start journaling?
Oh man, I think I was 12. It's part of, when I talk to people about writing, the first time I remember, I think I was doing it probably before, but I just remember being super pissed off and just writing it all out in my journal. And I was in school. So I kept, like, different kids in my class, especially the boys, kept coming up to me and being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm not really sure. I'm just writing. And I just remember getting it all out and suddenly feeling, wow, I feel better. And then just kind of never stopped after that. And I think, like, when it comes to journaling, or any way that you're sort of trying to get your thoughts out, or things that you love, a collection of things that you love, that there are no rules to it. There's no, you should do it any particular way. It has. And I think that also taps into something that I say to writers all the time, like, you're writing a book, if you're writing a story, but very much so when whatever kind of journaling you're doing, you can really trust your instinct. Let things go where they're going to go. There's no should, there's no right or wrong. It's only what works for you, which I think is an amazing way to ground yourself in yourself, so that, like you said, you don't forget who you are.
Right, right. What sort of advice would you give somebody listening right now that maybe wants to try writing for therapy?
I mean, and I think this can feel scary to people, but just get a pen and paper, or open a document on your computer and just start. And it doesn't matter what you say. This is an exercise that I do with one-on-one with people, and I do this in live workshops and online workshops. And I'll say, okay, same thing, open a document or write by hand, whichever you like better. And I think that's the key, because I think sometimes people say you have to write in a notebook with a pen, which is fine and great. And it's got benefits, but so does writing on your document on your computer or on your phone, or the notes on your phone, and just put something down. And even if you're saying, even what you're writing is, God, I don't know what to say. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done. It doesn't matter. Just put it down and give yourself 10 minutes where you're not correcting yourself, you're not cutting things out, and just get started. The other thing I would say is just contact me. I love hearing people's stories. I've gotten so many emails over the years where somewhere in the email, people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just rambling, because they've started and they're just dumping everything on the page and then sending it to me. And I love that, because it means I'm getting your raw thought, and it means whatever's going on, you're trusting me enough to give it to me. And so anyone who wants to do that, I think you guys will have my number, my email, and my website where there's contact page on it. Just blah on the page and send it to me, as I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I love journaling. That was one of the first things that my therapist taught me, was how to journal. And then also setting boundaries, because they kind of go hand in hand. And it has been incredibly helpful because, I'm right at the end of writing my book, and I was able to go back and read some of the stuff that I wrote. Okay, a lot of it's in the trash now, because it was basically shit that I had in my head that I just needed to get someplace else other than my head. But it was so cathartic to do it. And I added the stuff that I was grateful for, stuff that was shitty that day, or stuff that was good that day. And, once I started doing it, once you start doing something for 30 days, it becomes a habit. And so I just did it every day. I wrote in the morning, I wrote at night, and just as cathartic as it could be. And it was me, right? I didn't have anybody else whispering in my ear. And on the days that I didn't feel like writing it down, I just picked up my phone and recorded my voice on my phone, because I was still getting those thoughts out. And here's the great thing about technology now. You can actually get the transcript for what you wrote, what you talked about. So if you want to use it someplace else. And that's what I did. I used it for a lot of social media posts.
Nice. That's really smart. And I also like what you said, how you threw it away. I never throw my stuff away, but I don't go back and read it because I just can't.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, I don't throw it away, but I'm not a hoarder in my real life, stuff. I like things to be really clean, but I do hoard my writing. I don't throw anything out, but I don't go back and read it. I have a lot of different journals, some on my computer, some are notebooks. I don't really need to go back and read them, but it's just the process of getting it out. I mean, Julia Cameron's morning pages, where she has you sit down, you write 3 pages. You're not supposed to, there's no part of it that's, you have to go back and read them. Yeah. And I think that's really liberating. I think there's this idea you have to do something with it. You have to go back and read it. But you can if you want to. But again, there's no, set in stone rule with any of this, and I think it's so important to just say, what is it I want to do with this? Where do I want to go with it? And then do what you want.
Yeah. Where was that for you after you wrote?
Wait,
what did you want to do after that? Where did that take you in life?
My original journaling, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
The first time I think it's funny, because I was always writing and I continued writing, and I had my notebook, and sometimes I'd be writing for fun. And people started to think of me as a writer when I was pretty young. And I mean, started asking me to write for the school paper, or to do this, or to help them with their writing. So in a sense, I think it's a great question, because I had never thought of that before, but I think in many ways that early journaling cemented the foundation of me seeing myself as a writer.
Yeah.
So and I know a lot of people, they'll say to me, I'm not really a writer. I'm like, but you wrote a book. Literally, people who have written entire books do not consider themselves to be writers. I'm like, but you wrote a book. You're writing a second book. Lawyers, they write briefs, they write stories, they write all these different things, and they don't consider themselves writers, which is very normal, because we don't give ourselves permission to be who we are. So I think for me, that just kind of solidified that, yeah, I'm a writer, and I never doubted it. Although I think there's a lot that says you have to publish and you need to publish in a certain way to be a writer. Or a lot of people feel like you have to have a degree in writing to be a writer. And both of those are completely untrue. Like the only thing you have to do to be a writer is write. That's it. And it doesn't matter what you write, and it doesn't matter how you write. You just have to write.
Yeah. I'm curious, and it's more so because I'm trying to, if you're writing, right, and you don't go back and read it, but you're keeping it, why keep it? Why keep that to you?
Because I don't want to let go.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know how to,
because I'm a hoarder. I'm
like, maybe there's something there. I think I tend to just kind of dive into the philosophical reasoning of things. So then I'm like, well, if I wouldn't, I'm putting myself in that position. If I wouldn't go back and read it, why would I keep it? Maybe like I'd probably light that shit on fire and have a whole and it's out, never to be seen again by anybody, but if you're
setting it on fire is not a bad idea. But I'm not joking.
Right.
I'm really not. Because what's the ultimate form of letting go? But isn't that also, writing something on a piece of paper and burning it? Therapists have you do that. I know there's like witchcraft that has you do that. I know there's, medicinal traditions that do that, and indigenous traditions. It's a great idea.
Light all of your notebooks on fire after this.
Yeah. Well, but, I do live in Argentina where bonfires are a thing and people have a lot more access to fire.
Mm-hmm.
I know this, as I say that, it sounds really weird, but it's true because, cooking meat on the fire is the thing people do, whether you're camping it out in the country or you're doing it at home. And it's not like a barbecue that you get in the US. It's just like a flat brick place with a grate on top of it.
Yeah.
And so, like a big fire, totally could see that happening here.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hey, I'm Frank, and I have hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Before starting Cosentyx, I was so uncomfortable with my symptoms, like not being able to sleep on white sheets or wear white clothes. Now I can appreciate the little things.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if allergic to Cosentyx. Get checked for TB before starting. Increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like TB or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if IBD symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
You're stronger than HS. Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
I'm Dr. Sarah Ray Hall, the founder and CEO of Armra. I developed Armra Colostrum because I know your body was designed to thrive. It's your natural state, your birthright, and you can reclaim it. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, with every essential nutrient our bodies need. It's nature's original blueprint for health. After a devastating health crisis almost took my life, I made it my mission to harness this power. Using proprietary technology, Armra captures over 400 bioactive nutrients in every scoop, delivering over 1,000 benefits that transform your health at its foundation. Whether for gut health, metabolism, skin, hair, immunity, mood, energy, fitness, or recovery, I invite you to join this collective revival of health and discover radical transformation for yourself. Visit armor.com, that's ARMRA.com, and enter code HEALTH30 for 30% off your first subscription order. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Yeah, because I could see keeping it if I plan to revisit it or share it with someone. But I guess I'm too like, ooh, it's gone. I would be like that. So,
Yeah.
what about you,
Well,
Jira?
I mean, I definitely, oh, sorry,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I definitely have different types of writing.
Mhm.
Like I do have my gratitude journal, which right now is on my computer, but it's very much out of laziness. I don't go back and read it. And I mean, occasionally, or there's something I know I want to find, but that happens very rarely. And obviously, I'm not going to burn my computer. But and I don't know. There's that, but then I also have my notes these are story ideas I have for articles I want to pitch, or I had an idea for something, I don't know what it is, and I'll just stick it in. And I'll just stick it in a document or a note or on a page within a longer document. And a lot of times I'll go back and read them and I'll be like, I don't know what I was talking about here. And then maybe I will get rid of it, or I'll try to clean it up and try to figure it out. But those are the things that I use that I then go and write with. And sometimes those are for, my newsletter or a blog post. And sometimes they're for a short story. And sometimes they turn into books. But I think what's really interesting about keeping, the work that I do types of things is you start to see patterns, and you start to see, I guess it's a great way of saying, like, you get to see who you are, because sometimes I'll go back and look at something that I wrote maybe 10 years ago, and it's not that different than what I'm saying and doing now, or at least there's a core there that is quintessentially me. And there's something really comforting about that, knowing that, whoever I am is here and has been here a really long time, even if other things around me change.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, what I did with my journal entries, I used it to prepare my timeline for my book, because my timeline is only from the last 2.5 years. And as I was going through, there was shit in there that was super irreverent, whatever that word is. You know what I'm talking about. Can't talk. But I took that out, and it's in the fire pile. And it's when we get ready to light that fire for the first time during the season, that's all going in there, because it doesn't belong here anymore. It's not something I need to go back and revisit. The stuff that I kept was the stuff that was important to me, because along the way, I got to see my growth. I got to revisit like some of those really hard times that I had during my healing. But I never thought of myself as a writer. But once I started like really writing, it was super cathartic. Like I learned stuff about me that I never even really thought about until I started putting it on paper. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. And, it's people like Leigh and like other people that I've, been following, just sharing their stories and, doing their memoir. And I was like, you know what? If they fucking can do it, so can I. So I just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether people read it or not, I don't fucking care, because here's the deal. It's now out of my head and it's on a piece of paper. So I'm good.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer that if you want to write a book or a story, why not? Why not? Sometimes I think people feel like they need permission, or there's some magical set of circumstances that has to happen in order for it to be okay. But you just have to give yourself permission and just be like, yeah, I want to try and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, I'll say one thing that writing had during this shift happened during the pandemic, because when I talk about how people don't give themselves permission, or they don't see themselves in a certain way, even if, my early writing times made me feel like, oh, yes, I'm a writer, that doesn't mean I don't have doubt about it. And I think there's something about writing that, or creativity in general, creating things that we give to other people, that pulls on us and some of our really deepest fears. Like, am I good enough? Do I have a right to be here? Am I going to be rejected? Are people going to attack me? And those are primal, and that and then the whole publishing side of it is can be really torturous at times. And those things would often get in the way of me. I'd have to force myself to write. Stephen Pressfield in his book, The War of Art, talks about resistance and how when you sit down to write, you have to fight yourself and the resistance. That's no, go do anything else. Oh, let me spend 400 hours on the internet, or let me suddenly clean my room or wash the dog, but during the pandemic was when, because the world, like as you said, is on fire, literally in ways.
Mm-hmm.
And during the pandemic, we really had no idea what our world was going to be.
Right.
And writing became a place to escape. And that was when I started loving writing, where for me, my fiction writing, any writing that I'm doing has become a place where I'm like, oh, it's a place to relax. It's a place to really just enjoy where I am. And I feel like that's a huge gift. And that's when I'm working with other people. I feel like yes, finishing a book is definitely a goal, or finishing a project, getting it published, having other people read it, but also really loving writing. I feel like that's a pretty big goal, because if you love it, yeah, we want people to read it. Yes, we want to take the steps. And I think those things are important, but being able to love it in and of itself is an amazing gift.
Yeah. I think, gosh, I go back to high school, Dirty Skittles, writing her poems and on the balcony, but I'm probably one of the people that, yeah, I would love to write. And to you, G-Rex, you writing a book, I'm it blows my mind. And I think for me, at least what plagues me on that is that I tend to be a perfectionist. So if you've never, at least for me, this is how I attack myself. I'm if you've never written a book, how can you even start? It won't be right. And that freezes me. And it's not great. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a problem, but
it is normal. That's a thing. And I think perfectionism, particularly for women, when they say women, if they're applying for a job, they need to have at least 75 to 85% of the quality. Whereas men are 50-50, I'll try it anyway. But in a lot of ways, I think writing a book is about learning how not to be a perfectionist. Because you can't be. There is one thing in the entire time I've been writing that I wrote it, I had a few small edits, and it came out the way I wanted. That was one thing. It was an article of about 700 words. And quite frankly, when I went back to read it much later, it wasn't that great. But everything else is a matter of getting it down and then editing and shaping it. There's so many times when I'm writing where I feel like it's sculpture, because it's all about the layers and putting it down and then taking it and being okay with leaving it onto the page when it's, oh, that's not quite right. Just leaving it there. But then you move away from it and you take a break or you do whatever, and it's in the back of your head and it's marinating. And then you can come back and you do another level of it. And over time, it becomes what you want it to be, which is often not at all like the image you had of it when you first started writing, but you like it and you love it anyway. And it's doing what you want it to do. So feeling perfectionist is just normal. It really is. It's part of the process. But getting over it is what you have to do to move past it.
Yeah. I had to get over my imposter syndrome as I was in the book. I had to get past all the other memories that were dredged up as I was writing the book. But for me, my end goal with a book is for people to know that there's still hope out there, right? I was at the brink. I literally was within 20 minutes of taking my own life. Thankfully, I'm still here today. I'm grateful for that every second. But it was so good for my mental health. And when I share just little excerpts of the book with my therapist, you've grown so much. And so for me, I know I'm doing the right thing. And like I said, my book's not everybody's cup of tea. It is laden with the word fuck, but it is authentically me. It is my voice. It's my book. And if that turns people off, so be it. I don't fucking care.
Right. Fuck it.
Because, here at the age of, I'm going to be 62, soon. And I'm I don't care. If people don't like me now, it's too late for that. Okay? You either like this version of me or you don't like this version of me. But I love what you said about, just letting your creativity flow and like how that's so helpful for your mental health, because it takes it from your head and it gets it on paper. And, some days it's, 2 or 3 pages of writing, and other days it's 1 page or just a sentence. Like on one page of my journal, the only word I had on there was fuck. I dated it. I tried to go back through my memory bank of like why I wrote that. I couldn't, but I kept that one because, some days that's just how I feel. I was like, fuck. But like for people that when you're talking to them and they feel like that they have that imposter syndrome, how do you get that kind of go away? I mean, for me, the more I wrote, the less the imposter syndrome showed up. But it was like right in the beginning. And let me tell you, I rewrote chapter 1 like 72 times. So,
I think when you say get over it, I don't know. I can't say that I've gotten over imposter syndrome. I may have gotten over imposter syndrome from stuff that I was doing 7 years ago, but anytime I might be doing something new, it comes up again. And I think it's similar to resistance. Honestly, I think it's like a lot of things that we do mental health wise, like somatic. I started somatic experience therapy. Is that what it's called? Somatic experience therapy about 1.5 years ago, where the whole point of just stop, recognize how you're feeling and really acknowledge how you're feeling. And I think that's a really great place to start when it comes to resistance and imposter syndrome, where you can sort of say, where you can stop the action that you take, where the action is often, I have imposter syndrome, and then you run away and you don't deal with it. But if you recognize how you're feeling and say, I don't feel like I should be doing this. I'm not good enough to do this. Okay. Yeah, I know I feel that way, but do I want to do this thing? Yes, I do. Is this something I want in my life? Yeah. Is it scaring me? Yeah. And then do it anyway. But do it anyway is a really broad way of saying a lot of different things. So, find somebody to write with. Having an accountability buddy is who supports you and you support each other. Like you two know that.
Yeah.
Is an incredible way, because there's something about having somebody be like, hey, come on, you've got this. Oh, yeah, I do. And just having that mirror is incredible. I run a writing community. It's called the Inspired Writer Community right now, but I think I want to change the name. We'll see if that happens. But the idea is that we're there to support each other. And while there's a lot of writing stuff that goes on, a lot of it is talking about what's going on in our lives, like what's getting in the way, how we're feeling about things, and it's a relatively small group because people, it's a lot to deal with, to be that open with other people. And you don't have to be, but people choose to be. But also, I think it's not the kind of group that you just want to let 40 people in and then find out later that they're not in the same headspace. Like you want to make sure that the people in your community are the people who, even if they're not doing things the same way, even if they have different philosophies or even different politics, that they're still considerate, they can still hear you, that they still value you and others as human beings, and know that they're, that's really important to have in your community. And I think also just recognize that feeling fear is kind of part of being human. And, when you're running away from things, I don't know, like something you do want to run away from a lion, but the fear of rejection and the fear of not being good enough that we have, I think it's really great to just do it anyway and face the fear, because it makes the world bigger.
I like that you said running away from a lion, because when you said that, it completely clicked. Like I was like, yeah, sometimes I do think with things that I want to do or things that I want to take on, it seems like it's like this scary lion. But when I think about how stubborn and like driven I can be, I see myself as a lion. So I just think that's interesting to be like afraid of something that you want so bad because of imposter syndrome or because, you're a perfectionist. And the accountability coach, I I had heard about that before, and somebody in my family, we had her on our podcast. Juju is my younger cousin, and I remember telling her how, man, I want to do this thing. And I'm really passionate about it. And I felt like she had created that safe space where I could talk to her about it. And I remember like kind of ending it like, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do it though. And I remember her being like, why not? Do it. Get up, do it. And then she would check in. What'd you do? What steps have you made to get there? And I'm like, holy shit. I've never had anybody challenge me and kind of confront me with that and hold me accountable. I think everybody else was like, yeah, okay, she's not really going to do it. But this one person to push and make sure I was actually taking steps towards it changed everything. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it is possible.
Sometimes I joke that I feel like 80% of what I do is just telling people, yeah, they'll tell me their ideas. Yeah, go ahead and do it. Do it. And I mean, it's amazing how powerful that is. And I think it's also possible to cultivate that in your own head, where part of you is, oh my God, I want to run away. And then part of you is, no, do it. Just do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So it's kind of like us with the podcast, right? Like here we thought we would do 3 episodes. Okay, the joke is on us. Literally on us. But it was kind of scary, right? We were going to get out and share our story and become really vulnerable and talk to people. And yeah, we had some imposter syndrome going on, but look where we're at now.
Yeah.
Like we're ranking on Apple Podcasts. We're talking with amazing guests. And I heal with every episode. And, we've made these incredible connections and friends that we would never have had. And, you get that same thing in the writing community. And, as you're being more open about your mental health and, getting your articles out and getting your stories out, we are changing the narrative around mental health, either one conversation at a time or one article at a time or one book at a time, because we all heal differently. And that's why we need more of you in this world to help people open up. And, every time we share our stories, we open up somebody else's prison, because there's so many people out there that are afraid to talk about what's really going on because of the shame and feeling like they're weak and, all the other crap the world puts out there to make people feel like shit every day. But, what we're doing is changing that trajectory and giving people permission to be yourself.
Yeah. Creating the safe spaces.
Yeah.
Yep. And when you said earlier, you're not everybody's cup of tea. There's something about that. We're not supposed to be for everybody.
It's true.
One of my early writing mentors, we're still in touch. I could talk to him this week. He'll call things Diet Pepsi, where it looks like it's something and it's got bubbles and it looks like it has texture and everything, but there's literally nothing in it. That is everybody's cup of tea. Almost everyone drinks soda. Almost everybody is, I'll have a soda, like whatever. But things of value and consequence and meaning, if someone's going to push back on you and they say, no, that doesn't work for me, or no, I don't like that, or even I hate you for it, which really sucks. I don't know what gets into people's head. I mean, I guess on the internet, it gets worse and worse, but which is why I've blocked so many people on social media. There are times that I think I've screwed up my accounts because I just blocked so many people. Because I'm like, if you are going to say something shitty to me, you no longer have access to me. We're done forever.
Yeah.
You need to go to therapy and control yourself and figure out how you're going to talk to people, but you are not talking to me like that. And then slowly but surely, the people who you are their cup of tea show up, and then that becomes your community. There's actually one woman in my writing community who she makes bracelets because it helps her relax, and she gives them out to people to sort of spread a little of her joy. And she's just such a lovely person. And she actually made one that says "Not your cup of tea" for that reason. Because, and I think all of us feel like, why doesn't, sometimes if someone doesn't like us or they're not responding to us in the way, or they're not connecting with us in the way we want to, we're like, well, what's wrong with me?
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO at checkout.
My name is Lily, and I've had hidradenitis suppurativa, HS, for years. I finally found some relief since taking Cosentyx. Relief means I can show up more.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
I'm Dr. Sarah Rahal, the founder and CEO of Armra. I developed Armra Colostrum because I know your body was designed to thrive. It's your natural state, your birthright, and you can reclaim it. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, with every essential nutrient our bodies need. It's nature's original blueprint for health. After a devastating health crisis almost took my life, I made it my mission to harness this power. Using proprietary technology, Armra captures over 400 bioactive nutrients in every scoop, delivering over 1,000 benefits that transform your health at its foundation. Whether for gut health, metabolism, skin, hair, immunity, mood, energy, fitness, or recovery, I invite you to join this collective revival of health and discover radical transformation for yourself. Visit armra.com, that's ARMRA.com, and enter code HEALTH30 for 30% off your first subscription order. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Before we started recording, I was upstairs and I was like scrolling through social media, and I just saw an author. I just got her book yesterday. Well, Friday, whatever release date was, I picked up their book, and I just saw her post this morning how she was turning off her comments in her app mentions because the way some people were like putting her in their comments to talk to her about how shitty they felt her book was. And she's like, why go out of your way to literally just tear somebody down? And I'm laughing at it because I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's got to be really shitty to put yourself out there. And then hundreds, like on the internet, hundreds and thousands of people are just tearing you down and feeling the need to put your name in it too.
I cannot even imagine, like, why keep it? Why do you need to share that with other people?
Right.
That you don't even know. That you don't even know the person. I don't get it.
Right.
It's like people leaving really crappy podcast reviews. Okay, we've all been taught if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Because if it's not going to be a productive comment, like something we could change in the show, and you just say that the show sucks, okay, that's not helpful.
Nope.
I don't read the comments, buddy. I
know you don't.
Not for me. Yeah.
That's a great thing, though. I mean, there's a thing among writers, especially when you publish articles, don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Don't. I've had friends go back and read comments for me. I didn't ask them to, actually. One particular friend on an article that I wrote a while back. It was like about the pandemic, where I had written how after the pandemic, my husband and I started sort of living in different places. And, it definitely caused drama among family. And we'll leave that one alone because I don't need to cause more drama. But there was something like 300 comments on the article because it also got republished in other places, in a little bit raggy places. And I was just like, I can't. But she's, I want to know what people are saying. And it turned out most people actually, like, that's really liberating. Like, why do people, just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you have to live in the same place, go on the same vacation, spend all your time together.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can do what works for you. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I look at the internet and I feel like it's, when you talk about the ego and the id, the ego, the super ego, the id.
Right.
I feel like the internet is the id. The little gremlins and goblins all come out and people are like, I can say what I want to wherever I want, blah, blah, blah. And it just, and my personal way of using social media is I'm really careful. I never to post when I'm angry, but also if I'm mad, just move away and go do something else. But I'm really careful when I talk to people not to all the ways I want people to talk to me. Don't blame me. Don't make assumptions, and of course I make mistakes at times, but, because I don't want to hurt other people,
Right.
even inadvertently. So I don't know what it is that impetus is that makes people want to go and say something nasty.
It's like they forget the person they're talking shit about as a human being. Like just because you're, like in her case, an author didn't make her invisible to hurt and mean comments. And yeah, I don't know. I tell my son, he's 7, but we've had this whole conversation about how hurt people because he had somebody at his school that was being rude and treating him unfairly. And it was like, how do you explain that to a kid that like sometimes people are shitty, like it's not about you. Like the mean things that they're saying about you has nothing to do with you,
Right.
has everything to do with them. So.
Right. And I think that's actually, that's a great lesson to learn as early as possible. Like sometimes people are just shitty because like how often are you like, why is this happening? Why is this person acting like this? What did I do wrong?
Right. What did I do?
Right. And, I see this a lot. Like I've had relationships, mostly friendships, but even with family where I'm trying to fix it. And I try this and I try that and I try the other. And it's just nothing is making a difference. And there always feels like there's another hoop to jump through. If only you did this, if only you did that. Or when people cut you off, like when people just completely cut you out of their lives, what did I do? And yeah, it's great. It's important to be able to self-reflect and be like, how do I show up? How do I talk to people? How can I move myself forward? Which is addressing your own mental health and how you deal with things. But sometimes it is like that person's a narcissist and that's how they act. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
Or has narcissistic tendencies. Not everyone's a narcissist. So.
What do you do to keep yourself like grounded and in a good mind space?
Ooh, I was listening to something recent. Oh, it was a TED Talk. And it was a TED Talk about how the human brain kind of focuses more on negative than positive and how it really takes work to move yourself from the negative to the positive. And it was really liberating because like you're asking what I do. And I was like, God, sometimes it feels like so much time. I spend so much time and energy every single day getting my head into a positive mindset. That is it really supposed to be this much and to be this hard? But that TED Talk made me feel like, no, what I'm doing is a good thing. So what do? I have a morning ritual where I start off by, I have a list of sayings that I say, that I repeat in the morning. I do meditation and then I read, then I journal a little bit and I do yoga. And that is a lot to do. So I don't do every one every day, or sometimes there'll be a couple minutes here, or maybe I'll just focus on one. I listen to affirmations in the car. I listen to podcasts that focus on things like yours, that focus on things that put my head in the mental space that I want to be in. Mm-hmm. And I write, I journal, and if I am, and it's not like I'm always okay, so it's a constant. So I'm constantly working on it to keep my head in that place of how can I put positive into this world? And how can I put myself in a positive place so I can actually do that?
Yeah. It's like a routine.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is such a great conversation. This is like the conversation I needed to have today because, like I'm getting really close to being done. Like I'm going through my first set of edits. I'm going to let Dirty Skittles give her a read through because I mentioned her a lot in the book, but not by her real name, only by Dirty Skittles. And, my mental health is so much better now. And I think that if everybody just picked up a pen and just started writing, they'd feel so much better. Because sometimes, like, you don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, literally don't want to talk to people. But, like, being able to just sit down with your thoughts and kind of get it down on a piece of paper, and it opens up other things. It opens up your creative side. A lot of people think that they're not creative, right? You don't have to be creative. You just start writing.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed what shows up on the piece of paper. You may go back and read it. And if you don't, that's okay too. And like, people can do this even while they're working. You know, maybe you're sitting at your desk and you're just having a super crap day. Write a journal entry, write it down so that like you can just move on. Because it helps you take a beat before you stand up in the middle of the office and call everybody a bunch of fuckers. Because, you know, I did that. We can all go back and listen to the episode. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. But like we get to a point in our life where we're like, maybe this isn't it. Maybe there's something better, greater out there for me to help me mend. And I just commend everything you do. And I love you so much. This is perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I mean, I also have to say, I think the energy that you both put out and the way you present things allows a space for that.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about almost everything that I usually talk about with writers. And I don't think that would have been possible if you hadn't allowed that to be.
Yay. Well, thanks. I have some questions for you.
Oh my God. Okay, girl, I hope you're buckled in. Buckle in.
Right. Let me buckle. Okay.
If you could rewind time to visit a younger version of yourself, what advice would you give that younger version, and how old are you when you go back in time?
All right. I am 10. It was when we lived in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I was struggling a lot. My family, I was born in South Africa. We moved to the United States when I was about 5, and that just kind of disconnected me from everything that I knew. And that was a struggle. And it was a struggle for my parents too, particularly my dad, who has a temper. So I think my advice to myself would be trust yourself. Trust yourself, follow your instincts, because when you're faced with so much anger, it's very easy to turn that on yourself. But you can trust yourself. I could always trust myself. I just didn't realize it.
Okay. What is the hardest lesson you've had to learn so far in life?
That's letting go, being able to let go. I think about these things a lot. So that's why the answers are so I was thinking about it today. My meditation this morning was a meditation on letting go. And not creating expectations for exactly how something is supposed to look, whether that's writing a book or a relationship with somebody, dealing with a fight, or whatever it is, or what your body looks like. I mean, not having those expectations, just letting go of what you think it's supposed to be and leaving space to accept how things are. I think that's, I know, in my head, I know that I'm saying it, but that doesn't mean I can always do it.
Yeah.
I love that. So I have a couple of questions for you. Okay. The first one is, if your anxiety had a theme song, what is it and why?
If my anxiety had a theme song, it would be and hey, that's what it would be. Because I'm here, and I don't know why I'm here right now, but deal with it. That's what my
love
would
it.
say.
I love that. And so my next question is, what do you do today for self-love and self-care? Because yes, they are buzzwords, but we certainly still need to do them.
So self-care is sort of central to the work that I do with myself, and with anything I'm doing with writers and working with them. When I'm working with people, I'm working on it myself. So, and self-care is twofold. There is the massage and the stuff like that, and the, whatever. So on that end, I did a face mask today. I slept late. I love breakfast and brunch. So we had a really fun breakfast and brunch get together. Like, I didn't do that today, but often I'll get together with friends. But then the other side of self-care is the part that stuff we don't want to do. I'm going to send out this pitch. I'm going to follow up with this editor. I'm going to balance my checkbook. checkbook that nobody doesn't even have a checkbook anymore. I'm going to make sure that my bank account is balanced or that I've paid my bills, even though it's stressful and I have anxiety around it, and to do those things that are really tough. So on that level, I meditate. I did my morning ritual because I always say any day I do my morning ritual, it's going to be a better day than a day that I don't. So I had my morning ritual. I also organized stuff in my closet because it had gotten a real mess, and I hate it when things are messy around me. So I also hate organizing, but I like it when it's organized. So, nothing huge, but just these little things that help my life feel more together.
This is so perfect. So I have another question. If our listeners would like to find you, how can they find you?
So, okay. So the two best places to find me, go to my website. It's my name, LeighShulman.com. And right on the front page, there's a way to contact me. There's a contact button. There is also a link to my Instagram, which is a great place to contact me. And unfortunately, my actual full name was taken. So now it's the Leigh Shulman on Instagram. And send me a message, follow me, I'll follow back, leave a comment. And you'll also be able to contact me through my Instagram. So if you want to talk about your writing, no pressure that we have to work together. If you want to, great. If you don't want to, no problem. I've got lots of free resources. And I would love to hear where you are and what you're looking for in your writing. Because that I feel like with the world being such a mess, the best thing I can do is help people tell their stories. And that part of telling your story is that growth that you've been talking about this whole time. What writing your book did for you and how it helped you move forward and helped you accept things about the world, about yourself. I feel like that's one of the best things that I can do in the world. And so anyone who has questions, LeighShulman.com, or go to my Instagram and let's talk.
Thank you so much. This was the conversation I needed today. And I am so honored that you wanted to be on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I feel exactly the same way. I'm honored that you wanted me to be here.
Yay.
And when we first talked, you said something to me at the end of the conversation. You're like, you're part of the family now.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys.
It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.